I don't agree. I don't agree with the idea that people don't want government. I think what you're saying, that people, if you say to people, do you want rules and regulations and people telling you what to do, then there's a libertarian element and people will just go, yeah, I want to be free, like bugger off, especially that Aussie rebellious thing you were talking about, Shakeel. But I think when you say, oh, by the way, we'll be taking the money away, then people freak out. Australians love the parent government. They love the nanny state and they love the welfare state. So we've grown addicted to the teat of government. We want the bucks. We want the handouts. We want the money redistributed. Now, not all of us. I mean, I think there's a very strong, growing sort of conservative and classical liberal libertarian base of Australians who are saying, no, enough. We've got to learn to stand on our own 2 feet and grow up. But if you had to say to me what is the single biggest difference between the Australia I left in 2001 and the Australia I came back to in 2020, I would say it's the people, the attitude of I can do it. I want to be my own man. I want to man up and do it myself. I have my own family. I'm not taking handouts from the government. That was a very, very big mental thing in the mid to late 20th century. Being on the dole was an embarrassment, right? You didn't talk about it. You didn't go on the dole unless you were desperate, right? Now we've got great things like the NDIS being abused by, anybody can get their hands on it. We've got people just want to take from the welfare pie. And I think we've developed a really bad welfare state mentality and we've become dependent on it. And I think people want to be parented because the opposite of having government as a parent and being a nanny state is you have to grow up and you have to take responsibility for your own life. And you have to say, if my life sucks, it's because of me. And I think most people don't want to do that. They want to say, my life sucks, it's because of the government.
Let's assume that.
I have more faith in Australians than you, obviously.
Not most. Okay, let me say not most, but I think a disturbing percentage, like probably a really big third of the country, is just sitting there sucking on the teat of the productive third.
We have lost.
And I think the productive third have had enough and they're going, I'm getting out of here.
We have lost self-reliance as a value.
Can we change it? Because in America, we've seen a situation where there's been a big cultural revolution, a libertarian revolution, a Ron Paul sort of revolution. Trump was less inclined to be fiscally responsible in 2016 and 2020 when he went to the electorate and touch, something like Obamacare. But now he's setting up like the Department of Government Efficiency. He's putting Elon Musk and Vivek, in charge, and they're clearly like, yep, we're going to rip out the Department of Education, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Energy. Do you think it's possible that when things get bad enough, the Aussie people could actually be like, hang on a sec, what do you mean you're spending this amount on a new statue here? It's going to cost 20 mil to put an Aboriginal flag on the Harbour Bridge. It's going to cost this amount for, we've got this much efficiency.
It cost 20 million to put that flag up there.
It was going to, but then they didn't do that. They decided to rip down the New South Wales flag and replace it with the Aboriginal flag that no one voted for.
But how could it cost $20 million to put a flag up there?
Don't get me started. It was either
government, mate. We can do anything to make it cost $20 million.
I've changed my mind. I've now become a lefty. I'm going to set up a company and I'm going to contract the Australian government. I've been doing it wrong all these years.
Yeah.
That is actually the problem. And I've had a lot of very interesting conversations with business people and friends of mine across Australia and across the world. And one of the things they've said to me is, one of their kids said to me one day, he goes, the problem with you is that you overvalue freedom. And I was like, what do you mean I overvalue freedom? Like, just give it up a bit. I'm like, for what reason? He said, all you got to do is get your political contacts, lobby government a bit. You'd make so much more money.
Yeah.
It would be so much easier.
Yep.
I think that goes to the heart of what you're saying.
Sorry,
that's only the people at the top. The everyday person is sick and tired of it.
Sorry, misinformation. It wasn't 20 mil, it was 25 mil.
Wow.
I'll make the flag for him. It's like Biden's...
Climb up and put it there myself.
Biden's, what was it, $1 billion that he spent to build 8 charging stations?
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about the $1 billion that Kamala blew on her campaign.
Well, that's...
all the celebrity endorsements.
I could have done it I could have got her not elected for $900
yeah,
million.
exactly. That's the problem with a lot of government initiatives is you can fail much more cheaply than we are currently failing.
What about their version of NBN? In America.
NBN. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, you mean?
So billions of dollars on
Yeah.
like fiber or something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a huge problem with the government inefficiency. Absolutely, there's the show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome, and there is a problem also with self-reliance, and a lot of our self-reliance has deteriorated partly because we haven't seen hard times in a lot of cases. We also haven't seen bankruptcy or inflation, but there's also a sort of a level above in which case in which it's the pharmaceutical and the military-industrial complex overlay on a lot of these things, like the Ukraine war, the what just happened with Make America Healthy Again. These are huge costs. The military and pharmaceutical industrial complex are giant. When you talk about sucking at the teat, they're in this case parasites. Just sucking away our prosperity, and they don't have to, but because the party elites in each party live off of that, and they are not serving their underlying constituents. The Greens voter is not going to see a better environment when they have windmills offshore. The Labor voter is not going to see a lower cost of living for working families, and the Liberal voter is not going to see functioning business and a free society. Not with the people in charge running the show, because they're run by the pharmaceutical and military industrial complex and whatever other globalist institutions are pulling their strings.
I want to come back on